Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a re-recording of my first video for Dolphin Appreciation Day. I could not find information about the origins of this unofficial holiday, but it is celebrated all over the world on April 14th. It's mostly used to bring awareness of dolphin hunts that take place in Japan. Dolphins are highly intelligent marine mammals and are part of the family of cetaceans or toothed whales. That includes orcas and pilot whales. Their taxonomy reads as follows. They belong to the kingdom Animalia, the phylum Chordata, the class Mammalia, the order Artiodactylae, the infraorder Cetacea, and the parvorder Odontocidae. And you can break them down into different groups and clades, but I won't go into that at this time. The overall anatomy of the dolphin is designed to survive in the water. All dolphins have similar anatomical and morphological characteristics. This means that all species have some features that do not differ widely between species. Obviously, there are differences in skin color, shape, size, and weight, but it is relatively easy to recognize that a particular animal observed is a dolphin. However, it is common to confuse porpoises with dolphins, and that is because their external appearance is very similar and both are closely related cetaceans. The difference is that porpoises are smaller animals and have rounder snouts than dolphins. Their size can range from one extreme to the next. Some of the smaller ones are about 4 feet in length and others measure as long as 30 feet. Some of them weigh about 90 pounds while others tip the scale around 11 tons. The coloring of dolphins is mainly grayish blue, brownish, or black and white. They have very sensitive skin, which can easily get harmed if hit by rough surfaces. However, they can recover pretty fast from severe injuries, including shark bites, because they have a rapid healing process, even for deep wounds. Their skin feels like rubber, and they don't have any sweat glands. Part of this could be due to the thickness of the skin of a dolphin. The epidermis, which is the outer layer of skin, is from 10 to 20 times thicker than that of other terrestrial mammals. The skin will peel and flake off for new skin cells to replace the older ones. Dolphins have a streamlined body design, which helps them to swim very fast, even for extended periods of time. The tail of a dolphin has 2 parts called flukes, and they use them to propel their body through the water, using their pectoral flippers to swim in a given direction. Dolphins have a blowhole at the top of their head, and they must come to the surface for air. Some of them need to breathe several times a minute, and some species only have to get air twice per hour. They also have a large brain, the second largest for mammals in comparison to their body size, only after humans. Their brain is very complex, and research shows it to be more advanced than that of other animals. The skin of dolphins feels soft to the touch, although it has a thick epidermis covered with a thin layer of cornified cells. Despite this, It is extremely sensitive due to a large number of nerve endings it has on the exterior. Given this fragility, it damages very easy with any contact of a rough surface and even with human fingernails. But if this happens, the healing process is fast and develops a dark scar in the tissue, which later turns white. Beneath the skin, there is a thick layer of fat that dolphins use as an energy reserve in periods of food shortage, as an insulation to prevent heat loss in cold environments, and as a resource that helps maintain the hydrodynamic shape of their body. Most species have a gray or bluish color on the dorsal area and white or light gray in the ventral area. This coloration is particularly useful for camouflage because if you see a dolphin from above, its skin is confused with the ocean floor, while when seeing it from below, the color of its belly is similar to the ocean surface, brightened by the sunlight. However, not all species have the same color pattern described. The Amazon river dolphin has a pink color on its skin, therefore is known as the pink dolphin. Also, some species have stripes or spots of different sizes, colors, and shapes. The bone structure of dolphins is lighter than that of terrestrial mammals, as it has to withstand less weight in the water. Dolphins have an adjustable rib cage, thanks to which they can swim in low-pressure environments without suffering damage. The neck is rather short because the 7 cervical vertebrae are fused together. The skeleton still retains vestiges of a terrestrial life, like a pair of floating bones under the backbone that should have been a pelvis. On the other hand, the body of the dolphin is fusiform and hydrodynamic, perfectly adapted to life in the water. It has 3 main parts: a head, trunk, and a tail, which include other elements. The brain of these cetaceans is large, and its mass is slightly greater than that of humans. It is 15 to 60 times bigger than the brain of a shark of similar size. A dolphin's eyes are located on each side of the head, and they provide a broad field of view and are very sensitive despite the inability to identify colors. They can move independently of one another, but they are not able to look directly up or down. Dolphins do not have external ears, but they have small openings behind the eyes which lead to an ear canal. The blowhole is the orifice located at the top of the head that serves to breathe and to make sounds. It has a kind of muscular membrane that prevents water from entering the body when the dolphin is submerged. The melon is a spherical organ located in the front of the skull used for echolocation. The rounded shape of this mass of adipose tissue is what gives dolphins the shape of their forehead. A dolphin's mouth is located in the front area of the head and has several teeth, which numbers vary depending on the species, but they're usually around 80 to 100 teeth. Their jaws are elongated and play a significant role in the sensory system of the dolphin. The trunk of the dolphin has the dorsal fin, which sits on top of the body. They only have one dorsal fin that gives them stability when swimming, preventing them from spinning involuntarily in the water. There are a couple of species that lack this dorsal fin, but not very many. The flippers are in the lower part of their body, and dolphins have 2 pectoral flippers which are curved and useful for directing and controlling movements and speed when swimming. Like all mammals, dolphins have lungs and breathe air. They are the organ of the respiratory system which processes the air inhaled through the spiracle. Dolphins must breathe conscientiously. The stomach of the dolphin is just in the middle part of the body and has several sections. Dolphins, of course, have intestines and a bladder. They also have what's called a post-anal hump. This is a protuberance in the lower part of the body only found in adult males. The genitals are also in the inferior part of the body. They are hidden in slits. Males have 2 slits that conceal the penis and the anus, while the females have only one that contains the vagina and the anus. They also have 2 mammary slits on both sides of this one, so they have 3 slits total. The tail of the dolphin has what's called a peduncle. It is the narrow section that connects the flutes with the rest of the body. The caudal fin functions as a propellant when swimming. It moves from top to bottom and not from side to side, as in the case of fish. And the flukes are the 2 sections of the caudal fin. An interesting part about dolphin anatomy is that dolphins do sleep, but it may not appear that way when you observe them. This is because only one hemisphere of the brain will rest at a time. The other allows them to be alert for dangers and to reach the surface for breathing at regular intervals. Another unique characteristic of the dolphin anatomy is that they don't have hair covering their body. They may be born with a few hairs, but they lose them soon after being born. Dolphins are carnivores and consume a variety of prey, including fish, squid, and crustaceans. Dolphins mostly use echolocation to hunt. Echolocation is a built-in sonar that bounces sound waves off prey and reveals information like its location, size, and shape. An echolocating bottlenose dolphin can make up to 1,000 clicking noises per second. What they do is use echolocation to find prey and often hunt together by surrounding a school of fish, trapping them, and taking turns swimming through the school and catching the fish. Dolphins will also follow seabirds, other whales, and fishing boats to feed opportunistically on the fish they scare up or discard. The dolphin mating season happens throughout the year, though in some areas there is a peak in spring and fall. Gestation for dolphins lasts 9 to 17 months, depending on the species. When it's time to give birth, the female will distance herself from the pod, often going near the surface of the water. Dolphins usually only have one calf. Twins are very rare. As soon as the calf is born, the mother must quickly take it to the surface so it can take its first breath. During the first days of life, a baby is nursed every 20 minutes and usually follows its mother when swimming. The calf will nurse from 11 months to 2 years, and after the nursing period is over, he or she may still stay with their mother until between 3 and 8 years old. The newborn has dark skin and lighter bands that run through his torso called fetal bands. These disappear after several weeks. Both the dorsal fin and the pectoral flippers are very soft but harden over time. The dorsal fin stiffens a few hours after birth. The young can weigh 23 to 65 pounds at birth. They will consume milk from their mother for 1 to 3 years and be introduced to fish and squid when they're around 4 months of age. The fat in the mother's milk helps them to grow very quickly. The behavior of females with their offspring is different according to each mother. Some are comfortable allowing their calf to swim freely, but others are more overprotective, very much like human mothers. If a child is healthy, the mother is calm and her behavior is normal. but if her offspring have health problems, she behaves abnormally. The calves are coordinated to swim, but they have their eyes open and their senses are fully alert. At the same time, other dolphins of the pod keep close to the offspring and the mother. When the pod is in movement, the young are at the center of it, with protection all around to help them have the best chance of survival. After being fully weaned, the males will leave the pod and join another one, while the females may live in the same pod as their mother for their entire life. A mature dolphin will usually only have one calf every 3 to 6 years. This slow rate of reproduction is one of the common problems that makes it hard to increase the numbers of any species of dolphin. If you haven't guessed by now, a pod is the social group that dolphins live in. It's difficult to estimate population numbers since there are 36 species spanning a large geographic area, and they can range in numbers of 5 to several hundred per pod. Some pods may join together to create superpods. These pods can include different species that seem to cooperate well and even hunt together. These superpods, which can reach numbers into the thousands, provide some protection against predators. There is no hierarchy within the pods, and members can come and go as they please and even live in multiple pods. There are 3 types of pods: a nursery group with mothers and offspring. A calf will stay with its mother from birth up to a few years after weaning. Usually, the mother's bond with her son is very close and continues until the young dolphin is 6 to 8 years old. Since offspring are vulnerable, the females with calves join and form groups where they help each other to feed and protect their offspring. If a young female gets pregnant, she can return to her natal pod to give birth and care for her calf, along with her female relatives, forming a multi-generational group. The males usually do not get close to these groups. There are also juvenile pods. When reaching a certain age, both males and females leave their breeding group and join with other young dolphins. But curiously, they go to the group of their mothers occasionally for a while and then return to their youth group. The members of these groups are engaged in socializing with others and establishing a preamble to mating. Genres, however, are not intimately related for extended periods of time, and once a female becomes pregnant, she will join the nursery group. Adult males have a pod structure that's very complex and similar to a human male group. You will see why. Often males are related to 2 or 3 individuals in these all-male pods and create partnerships for cooperation purposes. 2 male dolphins can stay together for 10, 15, or 20 consecutive years. The smaller groups have the objective of cooperating to ensure the mating of the others with a specific female. The larger groups make alliances with other herds of males to defend themselves, but also to compete. They continue moving from pod to pod throughout their lives. Males are dominant in all groups, but there is no evidence of strong social bonds between them and females. An example of social interaction and their high intelligence is the regular playing activities they perform. Juvenile and adult dolphins often chase each other and toss items such as seaweed back and forth. Most experts believe that the social relationships formed by dolphins are long-lasting. Dolphins communicate with their pods through squeaks, clicks, and whistles. Not all sounds are the same. They vary in frequency, volume, wavelength, and pattern, and depend on the intention or the situation in which the dolphins are in. If they're scared, excited, or in a context of socialization, they tend to make whistles. But if they're in trouble, they make clicks with their jaws. In general, they communicate using low-frequency sounds but emit other high-frequency signals when using echolocation. Most people have heard the chirping, squeaking noises made by dolphins, which they use to communicate with other dolphins or for echolocation. Dolphins can use echolocation to detect even a 3-inch object as far as the length of a football field. Each dolphin has a unique whistle that identifies it with other members of its group. If an individual is in distress, he or she uses a particular sound that indicates help is needed, so the pod responds quickly. Dolphins produce frequency-modulated sounds by changing the tone while emitting them. That is, it can go up or down. Dolphins produce sounds from the vibrations of an air sac in their respiratory cavities. They lack vocal cords, so they're unable to make emissions with them. When the air enters through the blowhole, the nasal air sacs swell and some structures of the nasal passages called phonic lips open and close continuously, vibrating the surrounding tissues and generating sound waves. The waves group in bundles in the melon and the dolphin directs them forward. Then the sound waves bounce back when they find objects in their path. Part of the signal bounces back and returns to the dolphin as an echo. It may seem strange, but the bones of the lower jaw are the principal areas of reception of sounds. From there, they travel to the inner ear and then to the auditory centers of the brain. The brain receives the returned sound waves in the form of nerve impulses, and the dolphin can interpret the echo. One of the primary uses of sounds by dolphins is for echolocation, which is an ability of odontoceti cetaceans based on the emission of sounds and the interpretation of their echo. It's quite impressive. Dolphins are well known for their agility and playful behavior, making them a favorite of wildlife watchers. Many species will leap out of the water and spy hop, which is they rise vertically out of the water to view their surroundings. They will follow ships, often synchronizing their movements with one another. Scientists believe that dolphins conserve energy by swimming alongside ships, a practice known as bow riding. Dolphins are sleek swimmers that can reach speeds over 18 miles per hour. Dolphins are very curious and known to approach humans in the water when given the chance. Very briefly, I will go over the difference between a dolphin and a porpoise. The biggest difference is size, with all species of porpoise being that much smaller than their dolphin cousins. Porpoises don't have the pronounced beak that most but not all dolphins have, and they also have different shaped teeth. Porpoise teeth are spade-shaped, whilst dolphins are conical. A dolphin has a hooked or curved dorsal fin, except for those species that don't have a dorsal fin, whereas a porpoise has a more triangular dorsal fin, and generally speaking, dolphin bodies are leaner, whilst porpoises are a little more chunky. Dolphins are also more talkative than porpoises. The whistles made by dolphins are produced through their blowhole, whilst porpoises do not do this, possibly due to structural differences in the porpoise's blowhole. They can still be pretty noisy as they puff the air out when they surface. So they puff, puff. Dolphins and porpoises also have many similarities, one of which is their extreme intelligence. And as research evolves, it is likely that more, or perhaps fewer differences between dolphins and porpoises will be revealed. For centuries, people have hunted dolphins for their meat and blubber. Dolphins are at risk mainly due to anthropogenic causes. In all the bodies of water where they reside, humans have contributed to contamination with plastic, chemicals, and oil. These forms of pollution can harm the dolphins internally, but they also kill their food sources, so it becomes harder every day for dolphins to find enough to survive. Commercial fishing is another significant danger to dolphins because they get caught in nets and other devices, not to mention the fact that commercial fishing also reduces their food availability. Humans and their water-related activities, such as recreational activities or maritime traffic, are extremely common in the areas where dolphins live. The risk of injury or death from being struck by boats and propellers is very likely. In some regions, the intentional catch of dolphins for their meat and oil is also common. While only a small population of people consume them, there is a market for it that results in many of them needlessly killed every single year. Some of the conservation efforts have involved putting pressure on the governments of those countries to ban such hunting. Some species, like the Ganges River dolphin, are considered to be critically endangered or already extinct at this point. The Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972 and the Endangered Species Act of 1973 both offer dolphins some protection, but it isn't enough. Beaching is probably the most tragic thing that we can see. Why do they do this? The most accepted theory is that something confuses their echolocation, taking them to the beach instead of the open ocean. Some autopsies of beached dolphin bodies show a very high percentage of damaged hearing, suggesting that a powerful sound may have blown out their hearing. Although dolphins see quite well, without their hearing sense, they are disoriented and blinded. And when one dolphin beaches itself, the others are at risk because they will try to help it. Another point to add is that dolphins put into captivity die much earlier than free dolphins. Dolphins can have a long life under natural conditions. According to the species, its longevity is between 20 and even 80 to 90 years. And of course, Dolphin Awareness Day exists to make us aware of why we need to protect dolphins. From an ethical point of view, all species deserve to survive in nature and have an optimal life without suffering. From a biological perspective, their disappearance causes irregularities in the food chain that affects other natural processes and even affects us indirectly. Their presence in the world is not as appreciated as it should be. Dolphins have an image of friendly and charming animals, but probably their existence is not believed necessary for the survival of other life forms. Would life on Earth be the same without them? The truth is that dolphins are an inherent part of the cultural history of humanity. They have accompanied humans on their sea voyages for thousands of years, and such a presence appears in many artistic expressions of both ancient and modern cultures. They are part of a tiny group of animals that can approach voluntarily to humans with no intention of doing harm. They can even save human lives, as has been reported throughout history. Dolphins are indicators of the health of the ocean biome, as their presence or absence can give an idea of the general state of those areas. Dolphins play a significant role in the balance of ecosystems. Their high position in the food chain allows them to feed on small prey that can be old or disease. In these cases, dolphins clean the area and thus prevent the spread of diseases. Likewise, their non-existence in a zone can have consequences such as the appearance of pests, as there are no species to feed on lower-level animals in the food chain. Anyone interested in the future of dolphins and the balance of the natural ecosystems can contribute to the preservation of dolphins, either directly or indirectly. The following conservation strategies are useful and easy to do if you want to help. One of the most important things that you can do to help dolphins is to go vegan. This ethical choice can have the greatest impact on dolphins and all the species of our planet. Some other things you can include in your daily habits are reduce the use of plastic bags and other products. Once in the water, these objects become deadly weapons that can be ingested by many animals or injure them. You can use natural or biodegradable cleaning products that avoid water pollution in the habitat of dolphins. In general, implementing the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle, diminishes water pollution. You can participate in coastal cleaning programs. Avoid going to dolphinariums. This can help reduce the capture of wild dolphins since some have unpleasant experiences when caught. And as mentioned before, dolphins do not live as long in captivity as they do in the wild. Please do not feed wild dolphins. Food for humans is not healthy for dolphins and could change their eating behaviors. There are links in the description of organizations that you can join that will help dolphins as much as possible. That is the end of the video. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. I am working to post videos more often, so stay tuned for the next video coming up.